final.
It is, it's a huge crowd, and as we said, this is the first time that the two of them have clashed in Croke Park outside of Munster Championship, so that makes it all the more intriguing, and there's borders there as well, close to each other, so I'm sure the rivalry is intense. But yeah, I think an awful lot of people are expecting a bit of a shootout here today, and I would possibly go along the lines that Cyril touched on it there. I think this could be a tighter match than a lot of people are expecting. I think certainly both sets of teams can't afford to just throw off the shackle and say, listen, we'll go for it, because you lose a lot of control by doing that. I think you start with the basics and defend well today, and I think that's going to be very, very important. We know both sets of forwards can hurt the opposition, so for me today it's about defences, and I won't be surprised if this turns into a real tight match. 116, 117 might get you over the line today.
I take your point, but at the same time, Ger, Tip and Cork in a big championship match in Croke Park, they'd find it hard not to go for each other.
Well, you see, look at their history, how all the massive games they produced down through history in Munster. And what you said there at the start, Michael, 80 games, 37 each in the championship. That's an incredible stat altogether from such a long, storied history between the two teams. But there are still question marks. Even coming in here today, there are still question marks about him. That Cork defensive structure, the central spine, is it as strong as it seemed in Munster? Looked very good in Munster. It's going to come up against a team today who are playing completely different to what Limerick played in the Munster final. And of course, we have the old story about the Tip defence. Will it hold out? Mickey Cahill and Conor O'Mahony, two massive losses to that Tip defence, which was already under pressure.
Yeah.
So, there are big question marks hanging over both teams today. But whoever wins it, they'll fancy their chances of winning the All-Ireland.
And I'm just surprised in all that rivalry there wasn't more than one game abandoned.
Last September was disappointing. The management disappointment for the players. But they've strengthened, they've brought in, it's been mentioned numerous occasions what they've brought into the squad. Have they strengthened? Absolutely. Have they a better overall package because of a bench? Starting 15, definitely. They have gained, they have learned, they went away during the winter, they saw the positions they were in trouble with. They've done their utmost to this moment of time to fill them holes and plug them gaps, and credit has to go to Jimmy. As we said, he's not very tactically aware, but I think the proof of the pudding is that he's brought in these 5 guys.
Brendan, much expected of the Tipperary forwards. Obviously they've got to get the ball. The Cork defend strong in midfield, but what about the Tipperary defence?
Yeah, Tipperary defence, it looks like Mikey Cahill mightn't be starting today, which I'm surprised at. He seems to be fit and going well. Conor O'Mahony's another one to come in as well, but certainly I'd feel more comfortable standing the goals there today if I had Mikey Cahill 10-15 yards ahead of me. The last thing we want is to get this Cork team a start. Now James Barry has done quite well at wing back. There's talks he'll probably end up full back today. He's new enough to position, and 60,000 people around here in your first All-Ireland semi-final, inside the full back. But look, if we can get that supply ball into the forward line, there's no doubt that Larry and Bonner Maher, and a big game is needed from Noel McGrath as well today. And I think that's what made in Tipperary's favour, is that we may have a bigger goal scoring threat than Cork.
OK, so call it, gentlemen. Are you staying with your own counties, Brendan?
Yeah, of course. I'll have to stay with Tipperary, get a shoulder off here off of this lad as well. But no, I just think the momentum is right. Cork have had that 5-week layoff coming in, which I know myself it can be a difficult thing to do, but hopefully, yes, Tip will get a couple of breaks, and that's what it's going to be. It's going to be a slip maybe here or there under the wet conditions when the rain comes, but hopefully it'll fall Tip's way.
Dermot, what about you?
Absolutely. Look, I think people are talking about a classic, a first ever between the old enemy, and ourselves up here in Croke Park. It's going to be tight. They're talking about a shootout. If it's going to a shootout, I would fancy the Cork forwards but would I rule out a draw? No, but look, I'll have to punt for Cork.
And do you think it will be a shootout? Are we expecting too much?
Absolutely. Look at the quality of forwards, especially in the inside lines. You have unbelievable quality in the inside lines, and that's where ultimately the guys who get the better supply of ball in are ultimately going to decide and win the game for their own team.
Brendan, if you were to pick one key thing, what would you?
Since Donald Cusick retired, he has been the man. Wonderful penalty taker and shot stopper Anthony Nash has been the all-star goalkeeper in 2012 and last year. And the 29-year-old from Kentuck is a vital member of Jimmy Barry Murphy's squad. Shane O'Neill is rock solid at right corner back, while the Rebels full-back Damien Cahalane is coming to terms with the testing challenge of playing full-back. Completing that inner defensive line is the Glen Rovers man, Stephen MacDonald. The centre-back 2013, Christopher Joyce, has spent this summer out on the wing, while the number 6 jersey is now handed to this man, Mark Ellis from Mill Street. Completing the line is the second of the 3 Kentuck players, Lorcan McLaughlin. The Cork centre field has gelled well and is an interesting combination. The skillful, energetic Daniel Carney has blossomed beside the physical, hard-working presence of All-Ireland football medalist Ed Walsh. The half-forward line has scored 224 between them. Conor Lahan is a special talent at 10, while Bill Cooper from Youghal has really developed since responsibility was bestowed upon him. The unknown kid at the start of last year, Seamus Harnedy, well, he ended up an All-Star last year. Alan Cadigan has been another wonderful talent to emerge for Cork this summer. Good to see that team captain Patrick Cronin has recovered from injury. He picked up in the Munster final, while at top of the left is Patrick Horgan, who has chalked up a staggering 241 so far in the championship. Tipperary goalkeeper Darren Gleeson is 33 and plays in only his 7th championship match today. He was understudy to Brendan Cummins since 2008, but this year he's clearly number 1. Championship debutant against Limerick in the Munster semi-final, Cathal Babbitt from Holy Cross Ballycahill has established himself as a first-choice defender. People seem to forget that Paddy Maher was an All-Star full-back in 09, and Paddy Stapleton is playing well and deservedly retains the other cornerback jersey. The Tipperary half-back line is made up of leaders. At right half is the team captain Brendan Maher. He captained the Premier County Minor Hurlers to victory in 2007. Interestingly, the UCC hurling captain this year is James Barry, while 28-year-old Kieran Bergen plays in his 7th championship match. Midfield could decide the semi-final. Shane McGrath's performances were so good in the qualifiers, he had to start. His midfield partner, of course, is this man, James Woodlock. The 6 Tipperary forwards are all potential match winners. Wearing number 10 is Gearóid Ryan. Patrick Bonner-Maher is an outstanding hurler, while Killenaul's John O'Dwyer is a man in form. He's already scored 214 from play. If you ask, where is Tipperary going to win this match, then here's your answer. Between Noel McGrath, Seamus Callanan and Lara Corbett, they've scored 7 goals and 49 points in just 4 championship matches. If the ball is left in fast to these guys, Cork could have at least 3 major problems. This is it.